To this now, 3 European nations, Spain, Norway and Ireland, have recognized Palestine as a state. Now, recently, the UN General Assembly also voted to grant Palestine more rights within the organization, backing its request for full membership. Last month, Palestine wrote to UN boss Antonio Guterres requesting full UN membership. The United States has used its veto to block the UN Security Council's resolution. At the same time, Israel's foreign ministry has ordered the immediate recall of ambassadors to Ireland as well as Norway. For more on the story, let's speak now to SABC News International editor Sophie Mokoena. Sophie, thanks so much for your time this evening. Did this come as a surprise?
Not at all. You'll recall that last month, the envoy or the diplomat from Norway came to South Africa to lobby South Africa. And when I spoke to her, she pointed out that they want to see a situation where the content of the Oslo Accord or the Oslo Agreement being implemented. And one critical issue there is the issue of two-state solution. And therefore, you can see that these countries are really ensuring that finally you arrive at that. And you'd recall that it was at the UN a few weeks ago where a decision was taken by member states that Palestine should be given rights, and also referring the matter to the Security Council. So we saw all those signals in terms of what was going to happen. And we expect that the important thing that must now happen is to ensure that the issue of the two-state solution is really ironed out.
So are we likely then to see others joining?
Well, yes, of course it will happen. You know that many countries have already indicated, and in terms of the vote at the UN, many countries did support that proposal that was on the table, and they voted in favor. And therefore, I expect some of those countries that gave a nod to Palestine being granted rights at the UN, following this trend in terms of pronouncing on their position in relation to Palestine as a state. Earlier on, we saw activists and NGOs in Belgium pushing that Belgium must do the same. And I expect most of the Scandinavian countries in particular to take a similar position. We know that in the United Kingdom, more than 100 MPs today signed a petition calling on the Prime Minister of UK, Rishi Sunak, that he must support the International Criminal Court in its decision. So you can see that there's going to be a similar pressure in the United Kingdom.
And speaking about pressure and reaction as well, I mean, we've seen what has been taking place in the public domain, but what have some of Israel's allies been saying to this decision?
The UK, the Prime Minister pointed out that this is not the right time. You know, many countries are saying, the allies of Israel, that a two-state solution, it's not a moment to talk about that at this moment. You have to find a solution to cool down the tempers between the two sides, and therefore then you can look at how you move forward with this issue. But I expect the United States of America to point out that this is not a right time to do that. But the reality is those countries that have voted for that resolution or that proposal at the UN will continue maybe making announcements, and therefore this will put pressure on UK in particular, located in Europe, with neighboring countries taking this position.
And just before I let you go, I want to stay with the United Kingdom. I mean, the Prime Minister there in the last hour calling an early general election on the 4th of July. What do you make of that?
Well, he was under pressure. I mean, people were disgruntled. The members of his own party were disgruntled. And we are seeing the Labour Party in the United Kingdom gaining traction. And therefore, he had to call the snap elections. We know that UK was supposed to go to elections this year, but he was dragging his feet. And unfortunately, he had to do this. There's too much pressure, issues that are related to immigration, the war in Ukraine, the war in the Middle East, and generally the welfare of the citizens of the United Kingdom in relation to the economy, even though today there were good news in terms of the inflation. But you know that the UK population is not happy about many things, and I think it is for that reason the Prime Minister has taken a decision to announce the 4th of July as a day where UK will go to elections. And for me, the story will be, is the Labour Party ready? Will the Labour Party be able to perform better? Many people are saying, previously, in a few weeks and few months ago, that the Labour Party seems to be doing very well on the ground. We saw the local government elections. And now I think it is a moment for Labour Party to show that courage and perhaps that strength. But unfortunately, the leader of the Labour Party is found wanting, particularly on issues that are related to the Middle East, the issue of the war in Ukraine.
And of course, there's going to also even be, as you say, a lot of focus from even some ordinary people in that country as well, who are feeling the pressure of what's going on in terms of, you know, just the cost of living, geopolitics and everything else. So it'll be interesting to see how the 4th of July then unfolds in the United Kingdom, and do expect that SABC News will bring you all those developments there. That's Sophie Mokoena, our international news editor.